Good morning. We start with Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga in the small booklet on page 2. From the heart of the Saviour, the 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of a cloud resembling a clump of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion-throned lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanation is an ear ornament of those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lights, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the 3 vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age and made your freedoms and riches meaningful. By abandoning the 8 worldly concerns, Savior, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of the Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. Saji Purki Joshi Meto Trauri Rablingji Ni Degen Padi Sange Jindu Mi Te Uwa Yidro Kona Dag Jing La Cho Parsho. By the merits having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of the victorious one, Losandrapa, who had the morality of an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandala Kanmiyami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts, perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of the tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. So now we do the 5-line Maxima 3 times. Migme sewe te chen chen rezik, dreame kempe wampo champel yang, dupon malu jomse son wedang, ganchen kepe songen son kapa, lo san drape jabla sowade. Migme sewe te chen chen rezik, Dreame Kempe Wompo Jumpel Yang Dupont Malu Shomse Son Wei Dang Ganshin Kepe Songen Songkapa Lausanne Drape Jabla Sowate Migme Sewe Terchen Chen Rezik Dreame Kempel Wampo Jumpel Yang Dupont Malu Jomse Son Wedan Ganchen Kepe Songen Son Kappa Lausanne Drape Shabla Sowate.
Nice. And you something like that? Cool. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't going to make it to Jenny in time. Thank you.
상계 최단 초지 초노블라 장초 바르도 단에 접순지 다기 취시 예반다 로람베제 상진주 버르쇼 상계 최단 초지 초노블라 장초 바르도 단에 접순지 다기 취시 예반다 다기 로람베 상진주 버르쇼 상계 최단 초진 총놈라 장주 버드 당의 접수 다기 최시 예반다 로람베시 상진주 버쇼 강기 투진이 존에 따와 탐지 밤비시 담비춘 즈비 거dom텔라 창zel로 시시 경건자별로 계산의 외진이 레지 수타베 비질라면 제비 동대 템베 동대라 차 남라이게 돌로도는 저기 트본다는 미게 놓는 저 군지 자는 좀 탐지게 다 기초도 Good morning everyone.
Good morning.
Nikki's question. Can you say again?
Good morning. Yeah, so my question was, I was actually requesting Geshela to explain the three kinds of equanimity explained by Lama Tsongkhapa. Yeah, thank you, Geshela.
드리지게 주어지 단다 당념 숨기고 나 직드시 겨루치시도.
지단 단념 마음을 계란 단념 숨디 가른 건지 지기였어.
So usually there are many different kinds of, different kinds of equanimity, but according to you, what do you think are these three?
야 이제
Can you
질라고
hear
왔어.
me? Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, usually there are different kinds of, kind of positing three kinds of equanimity, but according to you, what do you think they are, the three?
Well, to me, equanimity means not reacting, so no aversion, no attachment, so remaining equanimous. And then I just wanted a bit more of a clarification, like when Lama Tsongkhapa mentioned three types of equanimity, if the nuances between these three, and if you could give a bit more details on. Thank you.
What was the third one?
What is the third one?
So I got 2 points, not reacting, not aversion, I think. And the third one, could you repeat again?
The attachment, not the craving.
Right. 근데 들으시게나 그런기 어떤 남성과 빼기 되바나 신기 아니 당님 숨고를 지단식 해결을 치스. 근데 뭐란 시와에나 땅힘 따위 거수다. the sham mebache, shedang mebache, that the data was tangasum till the time to
Yeah.
Timum.
Okay. The civil chasons, telling a country to theology sugars, Rajadangi di Karsada di Nenga Chimbushrendas, Tanyum said, Tanyum di Penangazun Drasado Shevana, Tanyum said Tedam, any said Tini Draw Roach, Nedin Draw Roach Ligres. God.
Here, and the Jungian. Can you hear me now?
That is, yeah.
Okay, so here, the theme of equanimity is a very kind of crucial one, and usually when we use the term equanimity, it could have different connotations, just like the usage of the term middle way or madhyamika.
Chavi Tamangi Dichishugos, Tanyum Laya Rik Mambuch Chech Yores. Chavi Sorwa Tanyum Slawandi, and Dedu Kaya Maim Bigi, and Sorwa Chig Yunguyores. Ti Milaya, Sorwa Tanyum Segres. Sorwa Tanyum Segres,
So first, there could be equanimity of feelings, which means that the feeling is neither kind of positive nor negative, and that kind of feeling we could term as equanimity.
When Dinganzo Suzu Hajangi, Suzu Nye, and Ning Cholaya, Hajangi, Gasagi, any Chok Chigdang. Ani nganzo ya magasagi da drai sagi chok ni yungur wasra. Chok ni tenyi kanya mayin bige ani chik parmig sumjen tindi. Ko tuna gawa me deba, matuna dunga me deba, ya tuna chik dunga mandeba me deba, ani matuna ya chik dunga yo deba tindi kanya me bige parmig sumjen chiki. Ani yul tindi sum yungur wasra.
So in our relationship with others, usually there are kind of people who are kind of dear to us, and then there is another group of people who are somehow not so close to us, and then there is another category where we feel indifferent. So with regard to that kind of people, usually our feeling is indifferent. We do not have any sense of joy even if we encounter them, and we do not have any sense of aversion, and so on and so forth. So that is also kind of equanimity.
Da yul tindi sum yobadi pigi karsa yul korang ngun truba chik pe thambo ni yodeba tendi chik pe nyen sila wandi kadu na nyen chik de deba chida dash sila wandi kadu na dash de deba chida ani chik kaya tsora me yo tanyam tendi chika la de degiri wesila na tsawa nyen degi yo marwas tinga zuta mesegi nda nyamnyorwa teri nyen shivu jemba yana ya sanyi dash magyu yagi ngeba tsawa nyen yo marwas teri pe ni tsawa nyen tumbu mesa magasagi midi 아니 개인직이 토니 족부 슈 야부차도야기 교제 로시그라스 되는 남규직 소수 초와 카에 메디오 미티 아니 양코 개인직이 토니 다차시그리 개인직이 토니 ཉენ큐시그리스 그래서 유 코랑 문이 자원이니 비게 다니에 발마숨도 코랑 문 딱바 땜부치니 메버디 아니 다 세부 슈지 여러와스라
So, so usually we tend to kind of associate others as our friends, as our enemies, or as indifferent to us, and we also tend to think that they somehow exist from objectively as we assume. However, that is not the case, because those who consider as friends, they may kind of turn into enemies in the next day, or those who we consider enemies could also become very good friends, and so on and so forth. So the people who we also consider as indifferent, they may also become our friends, and so on and so forth. So there is no objective reality to how we kind of perceive them, how we consider them. They do not exist objectively.
다 원하다 딘디디 간르친니 여바레스 간르친 총와레스 라운디 아니 디페 조셰기 아니 규조로디 ngaranzo rangi gyuji 아니 착당 유무 왕기 아니 södeba 딘디치 착당 유무기 왕 콘나기 때니 아니 딩이 다리 딩이 녀레 아니 지 제타바치래야 칸야 처음에바 디 아니 착당 유무 코네 왕기 샤샤바치 주대바치 데리에스
So, so if they do not really exist objectively, then how do we kind of associate them accordingly? So we tend to consider some others as our enemies, as our friends, and they're really we tend to distinguish them accordingly because our own attachment, aversion, and so on and so forth. So it's our own kind of negative tendencies that we distinguish others in that particular order.
tadi imbadi pension ganzu nyam mesena nyamnyong ta mambuchila ta nyamnyong shosa yorasra ganzu mezidu meziki ondi mezidi mishenji gi nyamdu ta meziki go ta susu chikpo pigi meziki yagi tabshi chikta yo marwasra tambuki ni mishenji gi pe ani shada la teni ani jongoya aya chalong chongya de mishenji gi chamgyong la teni yonggoya 야 친구 찾아와야 야 직소수 기분 아니 가호치야 돼 미션지기 초와도 냠도 럴거야지 타마치르디야 지 미션지기 잠지지기 여봐나 곧 아니 치와디야 빌로디고 아니 치르야기 아주 미식 내다디 디러왔어
So, so from our own personal experience, we can basically say that our life is kind of very much dependent on others' care and others. And from our birth till we die, our life is very much kind of dependent on others. And without depending on others' care, we can't lead a kind of happy life. So from our own experience, we can also understand how much dependent are we on others' care and love.
들다 디자 강라 착바체서 텔라 아니 년도 따야지 가위로기야지 and 디지 아니 만디와나 아니 다가랑기 따 소소라야 소와 동아슈 지용돼야지 텔레피 소소라이 강 착바체서 텔야지 야부를 총바이나 아니 하장기 배 아니 가와기에 대야 디용구여라서 디서 딘디 강라 착바기서 율디라야 착바 도바이나 한미 지로 비기 가서 지 자원이네 차 만년 비기 아니 가디 차 만년 비기 아니 동한 덴데야기 라나야 동한 덴데야기 아니 로디 키시그마레스 딘디기 착섬지 메바이나 키시그마레스
So based on our own way of looking at others, whether it's aversion, attachment, and so on and so forth, we tend to associate others accordingly. And when we see those whom we consider close and dear, when we see they encounter some kind of success, and so on and so forth, we also tend to react accordingly. We feel joy and so on and so forth. So therefore, we tend to experience many different kinds of emotions of our life based on our own reaction, our own way of associating with others. However, if you could really manage or rather control such emotions, right? And then there is a greater possibility of experiencing equanimity if you could manage such emotions.
Tadindigida kaso ta chakpa nyendu tomi lo, nyendu tabi lo, chakpa, gawi lo, chakpa di ani ko redok jengi lo shik, redok jengi lo shik chakido asara. Rangla ya chik rewa chik, rangla ya chik ani zu rangla ya rewa chimbu chik wangi ani dindigida chik gawi lo sanamadu chakpi lo di kikido asara. 다 유파쇼 응원이 소소라야 지금 만돼봐다 마롱바 지금 레송바이나 단지 가비로디 베티 토르체니 마가로 게임도스 단지 가비로 하장기 가비로 슈크쳔부 야사기 베 곱갸로 디간라야 마가비로 슈질레그라서 단단히니 베 파쇼마디 짬에 소고초나 아니 소기 삼삼기 딘지기 베 아니 콘트롤 타고 들려인 거라서 더 딘지 로니 싸와니니 참마념비 로니디 계사가 율직 다가라레스
So the point is that based on the same object, we could have two different kind of emotions, two different ways of kind of looking at things. For instance, when we talk about attachment, or when we talk about the sense of closeness to others, these minds will come together with a sense of expectation and so on and so forth. So at the beginning, since you have so much expectation from that particular person whom you consider kind of close, and when that person could not live up to the expectation that you have, and then the same object will give you a sense of disappointment. So although it's same person, same object, but it could give you joyful kind of feeling, or rather a disappointment. So therefore it's not the object that gives you different emotions, but it's how we react to that.
데르데 다가라리다 지금 비 단통데 태양 즉 소소라 오늘 지 경제라로 사지 지 삼비기 콜론 디왕기 아니 비기 율 단통도 그러스 다 딘디기 단통데서 율디 오늘 지 소소라 오늘 지 가서 지 가외 바지다 지 펜바지 정말나 아니 단지 로드 더도 그랬어 로디실이야 가위로 세메비 가위로 빙이님에 드리는 진이 캐나년도 메시지기 세라서 딘디로 레인 거로 와서 딜레 그래왔어
So similarly, we may see someone as our enemies because we think that person will somehow cause trouble to you and to our life. However, if the same kind of person, the same object does something that benefits you, that pleases you, our way of looking at that person, our feeling will definitely change. And now there is no sense of aversion towards that person, but rather there is a sense of attachment, or rather affinity to the same person and same object. So our way of looking at the same object changes based on how we perceive others, whether they benefit us or whether they cause some kind of problem to us.
이제 드 상황이 로 푸그로 됐다 레독 로직 왕기 연구에서 아주 두 스반다 지소날만 좋은디 지금 미 첨부 영에 지금 규 첨부 영에 딘리지 통소나 다 샘 딩기 더 레와치 요르스 더 레와치 요르스 디 왕기 아니 디 리글야치 가위 로텐디 더 용구 요르스 더 냠탁부 파다원디 파데원디 지 냠탁부 교우 지더 디당 지 가야 지 펜토 투자 마레 삼성 내다 딘디지 통와야나 아니 나메다는 로얄 소바 아니 텔레 탑 두바이나 페디 아니 마가 로키엘 소바 딘디 용구 요르스
Yes. So there is always a mind of, because of the expectations that we have towards others, we tend to develop different minds. For instance, if we see or rather encounter someone who is famous or who is rich, and then our sense of expectation based on that will immediately come about, and we tend to feel close to that person because we may think that that particular person who is famous or rich may benefit us in the future. And similarly, if we encounter someone who is kind of less privileged, and then we somehow immediately judge and think that that person may not have, may not benefit us, so to speak. And then because of that, we tend to ignore or rather have a sense of indifferent feeling to that person, if not feeling aversion.
Kinza da dindiги ani chi chagdang chogri loy wang de songchen ni chi ani deduk chamani bi chosh jigang la ya so so ke sha ba na da di kyong re sha di digmundos di digmundos dinza chi changma lo la ba nyambi gi lo nyambi gi chi ani tanyum chi gom thu ba na du da number kon do so so be ani karso da chi 박 조부진 대토야지 총사지 시야바는 수수 박 조부진 대토가지 데니야 드바이나 가와데 수투바이나 야지 소송이베 아니 로 대부진 로토야 아니 참말라 가리 로바 가르치는 참말라 찬념에 제토야 겐자 조디 바 따념 광고에 들으셔스 다들 장관은 어떤 거 지금 지부 말이야 또 봐는 지 아니 야가르 펜도 용수 줘봐 대연 또 봐는 때문 틈비 온보겠다 지 공비 쏘드 차고레스 두군 공부 쏘드 차고레스
Um, so we tend to have lots of attachment or other sense of aversion towards others. This will definitely bring about any kind of easiness in our life. So therefore, in order to lead a very balanced life, it's really crucial to have a sense of equality or equanimity way of looking at others so that we could lead a very balanced life. Something that's not fluctuating all the time. And then if we have that kind of attitude towards others, even if we were to help others, we could do it equally without sense of judgment and aversion and so on and so forth. So this is the primary kind of teaching and practice of not only Lama Tsongkhapa, but also many other great Indian teachers.
다디 따님 공고레스 라운디 곰고레스 라바san이 되게 말아 다따님 곰비기 탑시지 요르베세 탑지 요르베세 다 지워레스 라 다디기 탑신지 말로바다 다 좀된디기 소리 야갈 키비 소리 하던 다 아마 중간비기 소나와 다디기 따님 곰이야기 탑다 시지 말로바 요레스 응우베 난주 가서 다지 아니 라비 나올라야 지금 메독 샤샤바 난식이 빈 통해 여바 지금 타블럼 디어레스 들어
So it's not sufficient simply to say that it's important to cultivate equanimity, but rather the question is, can we cultivate that mind? So of course, the means and the methods, or rather the techniques of cultivating that is taught by Tibetan and great Indian scholars.
그래도 답답 가르레스 라운디 지땅 그 우유네슬라 난 상물로 찍바레스 로 잔념레스 가린 라냠 레스 라운디 데바 데바도 동가 모데바 라냠 레스 순르지기 바이나야 데오고고 여바 동가 고고 메바디 포미 켜바요 말이 메더 튼루기 켜바요 말이 규침보다 지 음포기 켜바요 말이 강래야 켜바요 말이스 사mal로 데오고고 여 사mal 동가 고고 여 말이스 디자 데오 공에 질이야 동가 때바이나 다들 지마서 뭐이 피기게 유그 내루던 튕구면도 왔어 뭐비 내서도 민팀비기 차와지 계란게 제로도 왔어 뭐비 내서도 민팀비 차와지 수치기 바이나 디 노르바레 마도 디 지바지 체크요 말아서 digda mantik sedi ngubi neludan tu mantung toni share modo jamba dig mantik keche shesas kiyo marasra o disongo dos ta kanji disongo dos
Awesome. So the first kind of step towards cultivating equanimity is really to be able to perceive and see the sameness of all beings. For instance, when we talk about the equality of self and others, the basic what to call it foundation is that we all equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. On that level, all are same. And then if you kind of tend to perceive differently, then that is against the true nature. And since it does not align with the truth, therefore it is kind of incorrect to have that kind of attitude or way of looking at others.
terda tatanyam gombige tanyam gombongo de samaji ranyam tayat ranyam de bige nguye nezu tone samdaundi ranyam imbachi to tadi de tayat tadi nguntu chagen di yakshu di gyundengi rang yu nyumu de zejuchi ani di ye tachi karsoda shib sabu chebana nyumu digi gyungon drebusum gutolaya tu gyundengi samlo yabu stan shimju yabu cheche and di nyumu di gyudangon da drebu kangi chane kyang ani ta maron waji ro gyu maron waji ani teni chwa ngon te aji maron waji drebu te maron wa tindri ji yimba ji tong di pa ani karsa tondu sambadi the Miss Sundajine Gigores. The Diki on the Tinetanium gom to Yellow Soba. The D Tabshi the Jagarkebari, Pekibari, Tinanta, Jangola Mutunga, that the Nede Shujin, the Sungudasra.
So here when we talk about cultivating equanimity, the kind of prerequisite for cultivating that mind is really to manage one's own negative tendencies and negative emotions and to analyze afflictive emotions in terms of their cause, their nature, and their fruit. And the more we kind of analyze the nature of afflictive emotions, we find that they are not only kind of destructive in terms of its cause, they are also destructive by nature, and they are not only that, they will also bring about and ensue destructive result. So therefore, they should be eliminated, they should be removed. So when you have a strong sense of eliminating or rather shunning the afflictive and destructive emotions, then there is a greater possibility of cultivating equanimity. So that technique has been taught by many great Indian scholars as well as also later Tibetan scholars, including Lama Tsongkhapa.
These are the Jigsaw de Tanyum Songi, any Nyumu, any Teledeni de Tanyum Kaza Chagdangi, Chagdangongi Pigi, 아니 릭스 체치는 초대도 다녀스 용다도 지디다도 상황로다 만지 위긴 내진 통과로 왔어. 통과로 왔어. 다 딘자 다 뒤에 다녀 검거야 돼. 상황로다 지 아니 찍봤다고 했던 뒤에 다녀 세디 상로당단데 시고라서 뒤에 다녀 로 찍려야 하장 그 차고 많이 봐. 찍려야 하장 다음 많이 봐. 찍베디 야 더 많이 봐. 상황로 집이 아니 에 그 내루도 통바 찍규를 검야디 아니 뒤체 따념 세디 간 로기어레스 덴지기 아니 뒤체 따념 두 공원디 테니 아니 세메 따념 세디 베디 사말로 아니 사말로 대원대바도 동하면 대바이바 찍규 그 섬도 슬레온디 강점절에 심자 탐지 아니 대화된 데는 지마로 동하다들 지마로 냠비 아니 따님 그 아니 로 세메비 로 기에치 어디시에고레스
So, and then when we realize, by virtue of different objects, we tend to kind of cultivate a different mind, and based on that, we tend to react differently by way of aversion and so on and so forth. And the more you realize that that way of looking is destructive, and then there is a better kind of possibility of cultivating the next level of equanimity. And then the more we are able to reflect on this, and then we will be able to perceive not only the thinking that all are equal, but the next kind of technique is that how wonderful if all the beings could encounter with happiness and joy and so on and so forth. So there is known as the kind of limitless equanimity.
Welcome. Sorry, I forgot your name. Shannon. We call him Jesus. You are so similar, Jesus. 그 산전 코스 유니버시티 있던 프로페셔널 그래도 가정한 로터들이 토를 코테린들에서 and your friend Jesus say you have many questions. Yes. Okay. So no. Yeah. 토마들 걔랑 어디 지러시서 콘솔라.
Yeah. So could you briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
So my name is Shannon Brinkett. I'm at the University of the Sunshine Coast, where I teach international relations and politics. And I'm very interested in theory and philosophy, and I've engaged a bit with Buddhist thinking, especially about dependent origination and what it means for human relations and human relations with nature. So I guess my questions are all about that. I guess my interest in it is less about personal feelings of equanimity and more about how we could actually cultivate this socially, especially in this day and age where things seem so fractured and tense and the relations seem to be decaying. So my question is about that. How would a Buddhist applied ethics try and improve social relations, that is to enhance our interdependencies? If that makes sense. That's the quickest way I can ask the question.
그런 디송도 된다. Pakistan Shan Coast University ki egegin isra. Pagila jaji ki telam da chepsi tola pijin lobri chigisar. Ane koran tiwati tadanga zo tangyum da tendi shev kabla suzu kansa ger ki toni di mayimba jizo ki jizo la pacha nirwa jizo ki tola pinanga zo tendel trabata ta tendi langdor ki namshata mabu shigirwa di ani jizo la pa ani 이 림바톤이 간데스 키비 수투그리 세조라 근데 직 기지
지속 nganzu nambi tadribtigi
나서
chizola ya karpen totu 그랬어.
바타 지조라 간데스 자르투그리 세조라 베나 간주 음 당뇽다 들이 시비가 강사 길기 냠내는 저니까 간주 드시게요라게 이게 지소다 미기 지소 펜수긴 relαμ체 아니 미 야나 미다 랑중 쿠유파로게 relαμ체 다들라 텐데시비신 단들 파자니 간데 스토지 펜도지 그레식스
그 고생이 진짜 고마스티 캔서.
아니 고내 양규직 들라달라가
제 chizola pa jargosala di pe chizola pa kandes ngodri tu 그랬어 거다. 아니 chizola kandes pen totu 그랬어 거 kare.
양규직 들들 So could you please rephrase the question once again? We're a bit confused with the wording.
Yes, yes. What would be a better way to organize human societies that we could enhance our interdependencies?
Enhance interdependency.
What do you say?
So, my reading of dependent origination, and I might be wrong on this, is that it means that we all lack intrinsic being, but we are all related, codependent on everything else in nature and among ourselves. So if we live in I think it's gone. If we live in this type of society, a late capitalist society, which is more individual, more fractured, more about the me, the Atman in that sense, this would seem less ideal for improving social relations and understanding our dependent origination with everyone. So how could we improve that?
Yes. 미기 지도나 파주 다 텐트 임바다 지글라 직땡에 바디 가서망 하고나 지다 젤람디 약도 주도스 근데 다디 지소다 고 마자링루기 지소라위 가서 소소소소 라직 수직부 인삼삼데 소아디 슈크차에서 디기 미기 젤람라 비즈니스 옵션부터스라 제상한테 텐트일기 남샤디 바 캡체스틱 칼로 모트 지투야라 다 넘카리어스 디 미 가즈망아 신투나 디 지속의 젤람디 상도 주기도스
다가라 더 캐랑 저디 랜드 캐랑 때 리그도 하더라.
그래서
캐랑 저디 랜드 캐랑 될 리그도 하더라.
So this question is pretty kind of self-explanatory. The answer is embedded in the question itself.
그래서 가즈스 모두 제 투바 대처기 지속을 핀 거라더라. 더 결람도 간에 열었을 나온디 결람 체슈디 근데 캐란 따블이야 결람도 하더라. 캐란 단다 아니 유니버시티기 톨럽 챔버티기 아니 야치 피기 따치 롭투글이야 롭된 신인 차가도 왔어. 디 롭된 지 산진 코스 지부 마인바 아니 지금 잠블리 가사 칼이야 캡투기야기 아니 고지나 캐란 데도 왔어. 그래서 캐란 따우기 and dindigi ching zambling be and gogo dinala yobiги and chi 아니 미츠마이 바 소차 용수 저버디 무상 찍다고 제니 찍찍을 때는 초월은 돼요바디 nganchu songke machena ngarazu thorog yobadi khana roji chobasi thogro asra the dinji tigi dena tele sabaji pina ji tendri namshati so khani theng dos ran zambali nano la yachi ani tenjong namsha ki labja ki cheshu di sabshu di khani theng du pina khana shimju bajiredo shimju chigo grestarwa nganzu mezenandu samdawandi ani chik chamze seda di nani chik ani tenjong set yongs zoba chik chile ya tön tuba resegi ani labja samudi ani gyaga phagbi yuni ani nalendagi kebi ombucho ten kontu zu tembu sanji chomden di kalab tani chong yores tzu tola ya ta kyaranzu tolub yobi ani chik bomramba chogi shimjuk cheche dipa chik tetuwa na the Geshela Mamba Zambul Pingris.
So as you mentioned that the more we're able to see the interconnected nature of our life, the more kind of beneficial it is individually. And it is, of course, a more ideal way of living. So therefore, it is really crucial for us to kind of spread awareness about this concept. And people like you have the kind of platform and the means to do that, because since you are teaching at the Sunshine University, Sunshine Coast University, you on the daily basis you encounter many different students from across the globe, and if you find this kind of concept beneficial, then by utilizing the platforms that you have, it would be very nice if you could spread and create awareness about this particular concept, and that we all, not only the humans, but all the beings that we share this planet are, should live as one family based on the understanding of interconnected nature of life. So, and it is equally important to kind of, delve deeper into the profundity nature of this concept, such as the compassion or interdependence and so on and so forth. So in the tradition of Nalanda, and of course the teachings of the Buddha, they explain in great detail about this, and it will be very kind of productive if you could also study those and create awareness about the profundity and the kind of advantages of understanding this.
Any the Keran Depe, any Chudi Ched Paya windows, Penangandelin Luchel House Drossons, the Neran Mune, Kazu Tuptuk, and Dishigius, Kazu Shetuana, D Circuita, Chidan Lombadiri, and it's Lombadini, Subitan Jin Zambalin, deep Pembajimodo, never Zawani, never Ditangi, Ichi yours. Didn't many big any rigby dribble on a rigby dribble yours. A did it
So, so I really appreciate your effort to coming all the way here and put up this question, because from my 10 years of experience, I can kind of clearly say that when you find some concept beneficial, then the more you speak about that, the more you kind of try to create awareness about that, it will definitely equally benefit others. So there is, from logical point of view, there is no kind of disadvantage for spreading about that. There is always kind of benefits of sharing about this.
Then Keran Shunju Cheda, on Zambalin Dinalaya, rang le jen ke chewa rese labja samudi sol tenge sore dos. And digi rang le ke chewa imbigi gyabjong drushe karko dos. O dindigi shimjuji chechin digi karso daji ani ta kanji jen su kangi pe kani te matubigi labja digi zambalila ya penno kazu che tuksa reda marise dindigi shimjuji chechin ani tolop nanglo la ya tamshi chigi bayna dikecha di she tsawi nimu nichin zambalila kyab rogre mado lag rog marwas Di ani jenli kichewa yimbi labja disemla yotsavi jela jenla neba maji ya mado jenla neba chiya sambaji kadui na kiya gi gyuchig mares.
That's then I think it's equally important to kind of investigate or rather study the concept such as others before self and who has kind of initially proposed this idea and what are the kind of underpinning points for claiming and stating that others are more important than self. And when you yourself become familiarized with this concept and kind of deeply convinced the positive side of this concept, then if you could kind of give a talk at the university, and it will definitely benefit many others. And from that time onwards, the idea will be shared, and others will equally be able to get kind of or rather grasp the profound topic.
In the Charan Pigi Sanchin Coast University ya and Lobtu Nangare Tangada Dindigi Peg any mean Chambuyonge, get a simple Dindida K Marda Inaya Nigi Mesenanola Lochuta Kashi Rila and Nambi Gita Tola Jan Yores. Samgam Ribi Tola Jan Yore Pigi Gitachi and Tenjongi and Ribala Sovetolaya. Kalakans of Jan Yores, Penanganzu Yam to Drolin Chen can Trevoji Kuba and Nigi Langue Tugur Sang the mother, Nilangue Matuga, Tindi Younger Samgundos. The Nedin Chigris, Mambang Anzu Samlia, the Shachin Anzu Ra and the Tugue, Nedin Chigris. Nedin Niba di ani Nanzu Karangi Tolaya, any Pebi Kawan Kandrach, any Dendi Shuguchonaya, Samgang Ribitolaya, any Logiting, Tadrutola, Logiting. Nanzu Kodik Chitugres. Kodik Chitugres. Kode.
Ama de tes cheskela yang kichi sunda.
The Niba di any Samgang Ribitolaya, any Tamshin Nantungi, Tadrugutolaya. Tenjong Tolaya, Tudrug Tolaya, Tamshin Nantunge, and Ganzu Tende and Karantolia, Kodichi Tugres. Chitang in Zambling Nalaya, Tindi, Tachi Kema Tamshi Ching Leon, the Hajang Droson Chimbu Tango, Tindi, Yordane, Ganzu, Nambi, Gelon Sole, Tindi Yomares. Nambi Piggy, number Sanjibi, Tolo Kani Tembigi, and Geshin number Solaya, Tindi Tawa the Yomares. So Kang Jang Shabi Labja Samudi Jenlapa Jaya Rana Tima Dobigi Dipa Training Alia Capsan Dindi Chon Sambigi Kulon put some yomares.
So you are kind of a teacher at Sunshine Coast University, and I also have experiences of many years studying the Buddhist philosophy and so on and so forth. So in the future, if you were to organize kind of discussions, conferences, and so on and so forth, we could definitely contribute that. And not only that, if you are interested, we could also invite other Buddhist scholars to talk about concepts such as dependent origination and so on and so forth. So usually, if you were to invite a professor to give a talk at a particular university, of course there will be we have to take care of the honorarium and so on and so forth. But when we invite Buddhist scholars to give a talk, they usually do not have any do that. They are readily, happily would share their knowledge and wisdom. So we could also organize and invite Buddhist scholars to give talks.
단단 간주 종규 September야 아니 라마 차 첨부지 배고 자도르무지 배운 거래서 그 뒤도지 봐나 아주 뒤즈드 페시 딸이 쭈드 쭉직래야 아주 뒤즈여래서 진짜 그비 딸이 쭈드 쭉직래야 아주 뒤즈였다는 게 시부진 개지 캐랑기 유니버시티 나올래야 쭉 개개 제 아니 디나니 따지 아니 냠셔버레 딘디게 아니야 즉 파즈 아니 코드르지야 깔럽 람데시에 데버여나 난주 자식야다 로버치도 그래스
So, so in September, great Tibetan scholar Chadu Rinpoche will be visiting here. And then if you are interested, we could definitely make a time on probably on 10th and 11th. There is some open slot there. So if you are interested, we could organize a kind of a presentation or a talk on that for the teachers, researchers, and the students.
데다 디르 당한주 잠블레 편도 제단 디르스 탑람 디르스 만주 냠으로 체지니 내가 가르치한도스 만주 가르치토고도스 딩한주 지야데 따 잠블레 편도 제 디르마도 따 디르 하가지 아니 당한주 잠블레 편도 제스키요 말았다 제 토야스키요 말았어.
Yes. So this is how we could kind of contribute for the larger welfare of the world. If you want to kind of contribute something for the peace of the world and so on and so forth. So this is how some kind of small steps that we could take to collaboratively contribute for the welfare of world.
More, one more. No need scared. Okay. Yeah. Questions? Yeah.
Hello, my name's Lisa. I've noticed that meditating by myself is quite different to meditating in a group of people. Can you explain a little bit about this? There's definitely a very different feel when in a room of people meditating.
Yes. 디송도가 뭐랑 참좀 검개비 값소 직부 검개바다 야나 다 그룹님도 검개스나 대 가사 소낭 마라와지 연구도스 디 김제 가이나 디 직송으로 지스다.
먼저 다 지당 랑종 로지 레면데스라 소소 지고 데디 전한테다 민냠 명망부 소원데 전화 만다 용야 디디 데다 랑종 로지 마다 델 믹스기 에 캐람 지고라 용데 딘디케 인기 마르라스.
So this could be kind of, a universal feeling that not only during the meditation, but whatever we do, it's different feeling when you do it something by yourself and with the group.
이나 다 디나니 키체슈 데탄데 캐랑기 곰게야스 라운디 곰라 곰지그레도 다 곰라 다 만드로 망부슈스도 라 아니 곰세디 다 pyoge nandeni gom sedi ani lo gombalaya gomdi tembalaya pyoge kanya samlo matani dede tichigbola ngunzi chigyo mares nganza tanda ani chig nusho re dan mambu chilaya chig uk tonglen chiya dan ani kanya pyoge samlo matani ani subu lolo chini shayala sobata ani gom ge tanyin chigyo rasra imbayna pyoge nandingi nalolaya gom ge tso di komdi deyati lo komchugati yang peki samlo tang lo komchugati la ya ani gom tani zo tela juguyores.
Yes, sir. So here, when we talk about meditation, usually if we apply this term to many different ways. For instance, in this particular time, there is a very kind of popular breathing techniques, breathing meditation. We also apply the term meditation to that breathing techniques. And then sometimes people also tend to just relax their mind and body without any particular thought. So that is also termed as meditation. However, as far as the Tibetan kind of Buddhism is concerned, meditation is not simply confined to thoughtlessness and only to breathing technique, but rather the familiarization of the mind and the habituation of mind to a positive object is often kind of termed as meditation.
Pena nganzu semgong la ya tandi chala ya dachi ani soso kechimbu shu tsidayati ani lo la ya komdi shuji te yorwas ra pena dachi ani lobda mang chala ya pigi dach pusu khani cheni ani pigi dach bumramba ma tungi pardo ani chigi rang kandras ya gel godo 다시 shenli rang kandrasi gyal goyaki, ke goya, top goyaki chik, ane tablam gyacha gupchu de tablam dikyang rojik, tengi yorwas. Tsawi rang jinzing lodi ko komdi shuji yobala ya, lobzhong chewandi, ti chewandi, ane mi samgam nangla ya chik, ane soso la ya tsawa nini, pena tachi 미 젬바지 인념도 추푸바카이나야 소소 경 말아와지 제고 상야기 아니 삼로디 쭌샤가 열어서라 텔레콤데 열어서 더 넘버 산지비 출래야 디마레스 랑슬라온디 미치그레스 셴슬라온디 타메바 타메바지 네든을 두건자 랑리 셴케체와레 세티 시온디 타 랑리 셴케체와 임비 삼로딜야 콤디테온디 티 곰슬라고레스 랑리 셴케체와 삼비 로드 곰고레슬라온디 티양 니양드 균센 릭파 다 남라 mambu 토네 랑리 셴케체와 임비 사운드온디 간삼질레페디 아니 랑기 셈기 랑셴을 옆에 슈그 소리치니 아니 가드 삼다는 셴케체와 임바 소리 용거레스 어 베나 딜리로즈레스라
So, so we have an innate kind of way of consider oneself more important than others. We have that kind of innate sense of self-importance, and not only we possess this innate a sense of self-importance, but on top of that, as part of our education and training from the kindergarten level to the PhD level, most of the education that we acquire is really meant to gain success over others, how we compete with others, and how we can gain, how we can outperform with others. So because of that, we tend to familiarize our mind with self-importance and so on and so forth. However, on the contrary, if we were to reverse that thinking, now instead of thinking self is important, when we compare self and others, The self is just one single individual, but others are countless. So in that regard, if you try to kind of reverse that attitude by thinking that others are more important, and then over time, the more we kind of familiarize our mind with that thinking, not only one time, over time, again and again, the more we try to familiarize our mind by thinking that others are more important than self, then we will reach a point that this thinking will arise naturally, spontaneously, and innately. So that's how we familiarize our mind to from negative to positive.
The rangli shen keche wa samba la chagye yakshu chik dita pena ta nga dhawa jina ta nambe ki trawa chik rawa sarawa. Di pe ta sangli yakbu tangin ta chagye pe yakbu resha sarawa. Trawa che ta nga dhawa jimba na tiri nga la kang yoba dingi shen la ya tren rosha wa na nga la kyong rasha ya che yo ma res. Dingi tre thukwa ina ngi semgam la ya di tsukki pakpebu yungu yores. Sanyi nga desa maraya da kala maraya ki kanga set tsawa nyini che masikwa tochires. Kezi nga nima chik desa marawaya na kanya tiki chik mingi mese nala kanya nagyon rogu marawa sirwa. Ani tu chik chomden diki ta chik piki ki labsha samo chik ani domba sonya la sopa tu sundrongan diki chik chitangi mikyuma ki ta chik mago nala ya chik peju mambu chede rig mambu shujora tozu tsama rangshi gaadroya chik ti tone hajangi chawa nyunyon chadroya chik ani sozu ki chik lunga isangu nipa kanyo bati zhenla robo che toya ki kenla ya gyurdroya chik pena chomden digi cheba nanglo la ya chiru khasi sayati ka na yo res chiru khasi sayati tenla ya gaasha gupa mambu shu chik chiru khasi masawa du sutrongan di kanzam jila ya komdroga res komdroga res ta gonda khala samagu baina pendang gonda khala shogja de ningu khala yabu jiram tsawa nini gonda khala gogu mundosti tien rasha jado di konjo me gogu mundos dus komdi ta tigi tsugi ani pigi ta rangi chedo khala soya pi khala di chedo nyobja gaya chedo penjo sayal soba chig randun chiyagi ani chigyora di 쇼지 nyongro dasra ti tsög ti tuzu di ani lobjong chiya lobjong nedön shin shen la cheya shenpen chiya tuzu mangro dasra nganzu tadu teres ta tindi jor sra gas manduki
Okay.
ya
Diablo laki mo ki the rickshaw the dindi teaching kashi. So there are many different ways of kind of benefiting others and contributing in that. And I personally feel that the most effective way is to become a monk, because Geshela is being a monk, he could dedicate lots of time and kind of effort in that cause. For instance, even if even if he were to kind of give away all of his possessions to others, it doesn't kind of cause much trouble for him, to Geshela. So the point is that when you follow the instruction and the advice of the Buddha, you will become more kind of ready to act in that way. And similarly, by following a minimalistic way of living as a monk, one thing, you will reduce your needs. And not only that, you will also reduce the things that you do, less activity. And when you have kind of, less possession and less activities, you automatically find more time to dedicate for others' cause. And for instance, Buddha advised his disciples to skip dinner, and there's a huge significance for doing that, because if you were to skip dinner, over time, you will kind of get used to that habit. And once you are used to that habit of skipping dinner, and then you really don't need to kind of spend much time. You could save lots of resources and time for preparing the dinner, and of course, then the resources and so on and so forth. And then you could use that time to either study or doing something that will benefit others. So therefore, there's a huge significance of adopting this kinds of way of life.
좀 되게 랍자나라야 칼라딜야 men tanyi yorasra chidanda chidang chani samdana kaladi zubu choya gita chik ani men jik redo asra ganzu subu choya gi men telaya subu choya gi men telaya kala tuni ma do tsawa ni ta goguyo samares ni samna goguyo samares ta dili ma sebayna ta ta kilo tebe chaya sorochi chaya gi nyenga do asra
So in Buddhist literature, food is often termed as a medicine, and food should be seen as a medicine to sustain our body, and we only need 2 doses of food per day. We don't need more than that. If we kind of take more than 2 doses 3 times, then it will become kind of extra.
Thank you. US.
So
Kartenan tigris, Tiwa Kar, Tenarang, and the cages said that any thing on the Tropocha resra, and on the Tropocha, Chambucha, and on the Chigila, Pendoche to Yagi, any castle that you pick Tatamos on the near Drogrosra.
no, sir. So you are welcome to ask any question, whatever kind of doubts, thoughts you have in your mind. And when you put out some questions, then it will cause a kind of, open discussion. And in that way, we become more friends, more close, and we become friends. And when we become friends, there is, of course, better possibility of helping each other.
Zapasan the Nima the Mituyagi, Kokos or Sigiasra.
So the Friday and Sunday sessions are usually take as an opportunity to engage and meet new people.
Thank you, Geshela. Hello? Yes, it's working. During the basic
Kude.
program,
Can you speak a little bit louder, please?
can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. During the basic program, and then a little bit today, Geshela touched on natural unwholesome deeds as well, and I was just wondering, within the vows, the 3 sets of vows, there's natural and prescribed unwholesome deeds, and I was with natural unwholesome deeds, is anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, are they all natural unwholesome deeds? Okay. Did you get that, Totala?
There's some kind of
The
noise
microphone.
disturbance.
Okay. Would anger, attachment, like the 6 root delusions,
Mhm.
would they all be natural unwholesome deeds? A verse prescribed unwholesome deeds by the Buddha.
Wholesome deeds, the 6 poisons, right?
The 6 poisons, yeah. Would they be natural unwholesome deeds, like by the law of karma?
Okay. You mean wholesome deeds or unwholesome deeds?
Unwholesome deeds.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Tanda dirishagada monatiwa di chinda ngazo di kasa nyeba sora digba sena di chik rangjungi khana matwa tawo yangna chebe khana matwa lan dendo chik lagya ya natural
Thank you.
yang chik on chisan tanda ngazo di zawe nyomong ba chukchi yungudwas ndo sha shedang kondo disu di yang rangjungi khana matwa tawo chage na yangna chebe khana matwa sora di chage nas rangshin
Nyumu kia di karso da chik 녜 찌당다 디 녜발 지요 말레스 니무께 디 녜발 지요 말레스 가서는 아니 텔 라마 요 말와스 간절 탄다 니무께 텔라 코케오 토마 메바니 콤데바즈 텔 라마 메바즈 텔라 녜바 지요 말레스 임바이는 디 녜바 탐지기 시자 임바 차기요레스 다 니무비 왕기 아니 차와 지어줘라 차와 지어딩 안주 까 투야기 탑시요레스다 로 베나 데차기 왕기 아니 지 용야당 셰당기 왕기 아니 지 셴라 네바치야기 르 쪼바 마롱아줘라 디 베나 데차기 왕기 아니 셴기 속체바타부티 데 랑신이 카나마토와레스 랑신이 카나마토와레스 어둑송요레스
So here, when we talk about kind of afflictive emotions and so on and so forth, simply kind of what to call it, generating or simply having afflictive emotion is not considered unwholesome because we do not have any control over it. They come because we have been familiarized with negative tendencies for a long period of time. However, they are definitely considered as a foundation for unwholesome actions. And then there is always a possibility of applying applying means to eradicate that, how we make sure that we are not kind of overpowered by afflictive emotions such as attachment, anger, and so on and so forth, and how we can make sure that we do not act out of it, how we can make sure that our actions are not motivated by destructive emotions such as attachment, anger, and so on and so forth. Having said that, when you engage in a destructive action motivated by anger, let's say you kill somebody with the motivation of hatred, such acts are considered as kind of unwholesome by nature.
대량아도 수지 대양아 간다지 체바나 지 간수다 람상지 이동와 통대 변대자기에대하다 양지 아니 세단기에대하고 간수 란싱지 용기여라서 대sam기 비기게 아니 란싱이 카나만도와다 아니 제비 카나만도 얘기 아니 네바 그거요 말했어 네바세야디 아니 제니 제 물어와질이야 제 물어와디 지랑기 까야기 아니 가서다 지랑와 여봐 아니 누바 여봐 덴디질이야 여신도 제 물어와기 자발라 주바이나 아니 네바 차고레스 단단한소기 샘강기 비라 란신소르디 람산지 아니 차단 유무께디 대sam기 아니 네바 시바이나 디디그마레슬라바이나 디까 무투야지로스 먼저 람산 까 무투야지로 아니 딜라바이나 타카 뇌슈소르지레마도 디 파조마들레 팽그마로스 타인바이나 딘티그레스
So usually when we encounter different kind of object of senses, we immediately become kind of attracted to objects. However, simply kind of feeling attached or simply feeling attracted or simply seeing that object attractive or that is, simply seeing that object as attractive is not considered as unwholesome by nature. And if we consider that it somehow become a kind of a pressure because we have no control over that. However, there is always a possibility of making sure that we don't act out of such destructive emotions. And then if we still ended up doing things motivated by afflictive emotions, although we have every means to kind of terminate that action, then such acts are considered unwholesome.
다 인바이나야 딘지기 지 차단 유무 로디 로양 타바레당 로 로바레 세기 아니 공구의 내주 계좌디 시에적으로 왔어. 공구의 내주로다. 공구의 내주 시에적 말했을라는데 딜다 룩다면 좀 봐서 차고레스. 공구의 내주 시에 무초 생이 디 미코랑 농주를 모두 디 공구의 내주도 좀 봐서 차고 말았어. 딘지기 차단 그 로드 로 록신 바 디자와 디야 로 로바질 투겨 봐. 안 딘지기 로 문제 체체네. 안 딘지기 로 로바 까야기 탑롬래야 슉 초야 대한 소수 톱당레스. 두 진이 슉 고야 대 가르스나 텔 때니 니바 망보진 정구 여반자 니바 대다 까비쳐도 니바 딘 정군 그 싸와 차단 그로 고야 탑롬라 슉외디 대한 소수 톱당레스.
Also, so however, it is kind of important to talk about the destructive nature of afflictive emotions. And not only that, we have kind of every right to apply our means or other antidote to make sure that our actions are not motivated by afflictive emotions and our action is not influenced by the negative and afflictive emotions. So we have every right to apply these means.
Thank you. 도전아. 샤워라.
That's okay.
We'll go to the booklet, Final Lambrim Prayer on page 9. For my two types of merits, vast as space, that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become a chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives Manjushri, and may I find the best of the complete greater paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by even this greater path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. And the prayer for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Predika Buddhas, victorious Losan, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, to the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in the glory for fortunate disciples. Janchu Semcho Rinpoche, Make Panam Geguchi, Gepa Nyompa Mepa Yang, Gone Gondu Pawa Sho. Thank you, Geshela.